you who are at call 14 should know all of this. There will be a quiz tomorrow morning, so this is a chance to brush up. So we have three areas of focus or pillars that we talk about always, right? And so the first one of those is research, right? The whole idea behind LBAN was to leverage the best of Stanford University, specifically the Graduate School of Business, and push that out, make it available to Latinos everywhere. That was why we were started. And so we created this partnership with the university. Professor Porras, the founder, is here. We're very honored. He was the Latino professor for several decades here. I was to be his student a few decades ago. I was a lot younger. And, you know, for those of us who had that benefit of experiencing that, it was truly a transformational experience. So when he had the idea to create this, of course, all of us wanted to support that, right? And so then a lot of his former students helped him create LBAN. Victor Arias, our chairman, was one of those. So trustee of the university. So again, a lot of energy went behind creating this program by Latinos for Latinos. When we were here, and even now, there are not enough African Americans or Latinos on this campus, and that is an issue. Our way to address that is to create LBAN and bring Latinos here. We want all of you to own this campus. It is your school. So thank you for being part of Cohort 14, and we greatly appreciate it. The concept is we're leveraging Stanford to push it out to Latinos. The pillar number one. Stanford is the premier institution for business research. So research is a huge pillar of ours. We invest a lot in that. We have on our staff 2 researchers at Stanford, and every year since the beginning of LBAN, we research thousands of Latino businesses across the country, and then we issue a report with Stanford. And on that report, we talk about the state of Latino entrepreneurship. And every year we do this. The last 3 years, because of the pandemic, it had to be virtual. And we were going to do it in person last year, and at the last minute, I had to shut the campus, and so we couldn't do it. February 16th, mark that date. February 16th is going to be our first in-person release of the report on campus, and we're going to have a blowout event. You want to be here for that, February 16th. And so you'll get more information. For now, save the date, and we'll push out the information so you know all the details about that event. But it should be a big event. We'll release the research, and we're going to update everyone on the state of Latino entrepreneurship. So that's pillar number 1, research, and every year we do that. Pillar number 2, so all of you guys should know this. So pillar number 2, Stanford University, Graduate School of Business, number 1 for business education, right? It's the number 1 business school on the planet. And so the business scaling program that you are all completing is exactly that for Latinos. That's pillar number 2 is that, right? You guys are that. You embody it. It's like for us, it's why we were created, to take Stanford and bring it to all of you. Because we know you deserve it. And there are so many others that we want you to help us to reach. But that is the second pillar. And so the third pillar, you're going to start to begin to experience that is this alumni base, this ecosystem. From the very beginning of LBAN, we had this idea that for us, the transformational experience we had at Stanford, for those of us who were, we knew that so many other Latinos deserved to be here, they just weren't as lucky as we were. But the thing that was very transformational about that experience was not just the education that we received, which obviously was transformational, But it was afterwards, the connections with alumni, the connections with the people we went to school with, because they all went off and did interesting things, and that has so much value. And now you will become an alumni of this program, and we have ongoing activities and ongoing programming for you to continue to connect. And February 16th will be one of those opportunities where we want you to come back for that, and you're going to see hundreds of alumni at that event, as well as hundreds of other people. It's going to be a huge event, but it will be a lot focused on the alumni of this program, because we see it as the most powerful value, even usurping the value of the research and the education itself is the value of that ecosystem. Because that ecosystem is all the connections that you have, all of the knowledge that you have, all of those ambitions that the Latino community possesses. Once it becomes network, it is hugely powerful. It's transformational. And we want to enable that, and we want you to be a full part of that. So enough on that. I mean, that's who we are. That's LBAN. You're going to hear a little bit more tomorrow about all of us. But we are a nonprofit. Everything that we do is supported by someone, by our alumni who donate, by sponsors, corporations, foundations. We get some government from some support from the government, but most of it is from corporations, from foundations, and other organizations that are trying to do good in the world. And also, a lot of them, quite frankly, that see the value and the potential of the Latino community. And this is a great way for them to connect to that community. I want to take a moment to recognize one of those sponsors. This event today specifically would not be possible without Chase Bank. So JP Morgan Chase has been supporting us in many different ways. It has been incredible for us, all the different people we have met from the bank across the country who have wanted to engage with us, and now we're rapidly working to figure out different ways for them to do that. And this is one of those events. They'll be here tomorrow as well. You'll meet a lot more of them. Some of you will have meetings with them. They sent quite a few bankers to have the one-on-one meetings for the capital session. But right now, what I want to do is hand the mic over to Vice President of Commercial Banking at Chase Bank, Lysandra Hunt. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. My name is Lysandra Hunt. I represent JP Morgan's Commercial Bank. And I would just say, I heard you use the word alumni about 10 times. And I just want you to recognize, as an alum of Stanford University, the weight that carries. We talk a lot about successful companies that grow to 500 million, a billion and beyond. And they largely do that in their connections, the relationships that they forge in university, in their business ecosystems, whether it's WRMSDC, pointing to Cecil, Executive Director of a Minority Business Council. But these ecosystems will help ensure that you can move swiftly through your growth strategies. JP Morgan is committed to helping diverse enterprises grow and succeed at every stage, from zero to beyond. So we have a supporting cast here for the weekend. Erica is a managing director here in the Bay Area leading a team. We've got people from San Diego. If they could just raise their hand, at least as you're floating around, we'd love to make sure you know who our crew is. The firm is not only capital. These are individuals that have day jobs. And they fly across the country, they're here, they're dedicating their hours to support companies that look like us. People who look like us. This is the most effective way to close the wealth gap. Thank you for allowing us to be a part. We look forward to sharing the rest of the weekend with you.
Yeah, and so thank you so much, Lysandra. So again, as I said, Chase Bank has been wonderful. We expect to see a lot more of them on an ongoing basis. And Lysandra, I've been seeing her since I've been a part of LBAN, and now it's just great that they have become a formal partner of ours. So I'm really looking forward to that. And right now I want to transition. So you're gonna all witness what we call a Dolphin tank. So it's our version of Shark Tank. We're the nicer, kinder version of that, right? Like, just why that is. Anyway, we're really fortunate that it's one of our alumni, Eric Donnelly, who was the CEO of Capital Plus Financial, but still quite involved there and still very connected to us since he graduated from this program. So that institution, they are supporting this event, so they will actually be, this is a serious thing, right? People are going to present here, you'll watch in real time 4 companies present, and then they're going to be getting real money from the Capital Plus Financial, which is essentially a CDFI based in Texas, but has a global reach. And by the way, during the pandemic for PPP loans, they were one of the top in the whole country. There's very few institutions that process more PPP loans than they did. And for many Latinos, those were lifelines. That money wasn't intended for companies like ours. Unfortunately, that's not the way it ended in the beginning. But it was organizations like Capital Plus Financial that stepped into that and made it all happen. So without further ado, let me hand it over to Eric Donnelly.
Hi, everybody. It's wonderful to be here, and I remember fondly being in your shoes when I was with Cohort 5. So congratulations to all of you, and Dr. Bliss, it's great to see you. I'm going to turn it over in a minute to our CEO of Capital Plus, Haru Garaji, to talk to you about Dolphin Tank, but it really was an idea that came about a year ago to pay forward the great success that we were able to have with PPP, and not just stop with the work that we did, but try to do our little part to solve racial and economic inequality in this country. Affectionately call it Dolphin Tank. I think it's going to continue. I hope we get more institutions to join alongside of us to support more companies. But we're thrilled that you could be here with us today. And I do want to recognize our great friend, Andy Boyan, who's here with us, who was on the other side of me when I said, I'd like to do this. He said, I love it. Let's, and I said, I'd really like for us to be involved with our program at Stanford and LBAN. And so thank you for letting us tag along and be part of it with you. And I will turn it over now to Haru to talk us through the mechanics involved.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm going to actually keep this very brief because I think Diego is going to be our moderator today. I just want to share with you what a privilege it has been to get to know the founders. You are going to be amazed. They are the best of innovation, of entrepreneurship. They are company founders that have taken a twinkle in their eye and turned it into a magical company. The companies that are trying to solve and tackle the big barriers that face disinvested communities literally all across the country. It has been a privilege for me to get to know them. We started with over 50 companies. The partnership was with LBAN here at Stanford, with the Community Consulting Lab at Johns Hopkins Business School, as well as EY. Vying for the $2 million that we put forward had to be sponsored by one of them. And after a series of grueling rounds of initial interviews and virtual Dolphin tanks, you are now here at the finals, the West Coast Finals. $1 million is at stake. First place will get $500,000, second place will get $250,000, and third and fourth will get the remaining $250,000. This is real money for some companies that are already a success. We've told the companies that every year is going to walk away with a check because we want to be a part of their journey. I am so thrilled and privileged to have a chance to do this. So congratulations in advance, but this is a competition. And they're going to put their best foot forward, and the job of the Dolphins is to pretend they're sharks for the day, to ask some very hard questions that will help us who walks away with a big check. So sink or swim, let Dolphin tank begin.
Hello, how are we doing tonight? How we doing? That's it? Is that how we bring in the weekend? How are we doing tonight? Well, welcome everybody. My name is Diego Calderon Guerra. I am here on behalf of LBAN Latino Business Action Network. I am the program manager. And I'm really excited to be joining you all for this Dolphin Tank competition, the first annual Dolphin Tank competition. I'm really excited. And I just want to give a little bit more color to the moment, right? Like, this is huge, right? All the companies that you all will be seeing, Latino-owned companies, right? And I just want to make this statement because I just feel like the universe is compelling me to do so. Investing in Latino entrepreneurs and Latino companies is an opportunity, not a risk. Gotta get it. Investing in Latino companies and entrepreneurs is not a risk, it's an opportunity. All right. I want to just quickly cover some quick housekeeping items in terms of how the pitches will go. So each company, they will have about 10 to 12 minutes to pretty much pitch their company. Along with those 10 to 12 minutes, the judges, as they see fit, will be stopping and asking questions to those entrepreneurs. And then once that time goes, we will move on to the next company. There's two things that I want you all to know, and what we like to do here at LBAN, we like to make sure that the events that we do, they're inclusive and everybody can get involved. So this is a very big community building event and an event that we see as us being able to generate that social capital, right? So two things will be happening for you all audience members. On your seats, you should have a QR code there. If you don't see it, you might be sitting on it. So just double. With that particular QR code, at the end of the companies that have pitched, folks, real quick, if I could just get your attention. With the QR code that is on your seat, at the end, once the fourth company has gone and pitched, we will have an audience vote. And so from there, you will scan that QR code and it will allow you to do an audience vote. It's just for fun. This has nothing to do with the judges' vote. The judges will be completely outside of the room for that. So just wanted to, so that will be happening once the fourth company pitches. And then after every company pitches, you will see a QR code pull up on the screen. This QR code, what it is, and you'll see when we get to it, it's essentially a resource bank, right? So in the spirit of really generating that social capital and really, doing something where the community can be involved, we want to provide the companies that are pitching with any resources, any opportunities, any contacts for potential that you may know. You'll have that option to scan the QR code. It'll ask you 3 questions. It'll allow you to select which company you want to provide the opportunity, the resource for, and then it'll also ask you a question in terms of how you would like the entrepreneur to contact you. So if you have any resources or contacts that you think would be relevant to the companies that are pitching, please make sure to fill out that form. It should take no more than 30 seconds. All right. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and present our Dolphins for this competition. So after I share every name, if we could all just do quick claps, just quick snaps, just make it real quick. First judge that I want to present to the community is Robert Amaro, Executive Director from Chase. Robert, welcome. Next person that I want to present is Mr. Phil Pompa from Pompa Capital. Next person that I would like to present is Remy Malhotra, founder of Pompa Capital. Next is Gingy Molina Prince, Impact Officer and Managing Director of Enhanced Capital. James Perez Foster, JP Foster from Bainbridge Ventures, Principal. Eric Donnelly, former CEO, Capital Plus Financial. And lastly, Thuru Viglaraj, CEO, Capital Plus Financial. All right, are we ready to go? All righty, let's get this show started then. First company that I want to bring onto the stage, Nick Brown and Uriel Berrum from Scholarly. Come on up, guys.
All right. All right. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Good.
You got
Give us a little bit of time while they get the tech enablement. Well, it's a pleasure to be back here at LBAN. I did cohort 13 last spring, and it's great to see Poras, everyone else, and we're super excited to get this started. I hope this is not getting into.
Close your eyes.
That was your mentor, brother.
I gotta say, he was probably top 1%. You probably won't have a better mentee ever, but it was there.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the hat.
Comes from Chihuahua, Mexico. There we go. Okay. We are scholarly.com. We help schools streamline their enrollment so they can create a better world. Yeah, so right side. Okay, right side. Our education system in the United States is broken. Every day, 7,000 kids in the United States drop out of high school. And once they drop out, they're 3 times more likely to be unemployed. They might even end up in prison because 67% of our US prison population are high school dropouts. And what's most is we can actually map these trends just by looking at 3rd grade reading scores.
You may be asking yourself, is there hope in these dire circumstances? And our short answer is yes. The last 30 years, educational outcomes in the United States have been rising. However, after the COVID-19 pandemic, things have started to slide. 500,000 teachers have left the classroom since 2020. And for the first time in 30 years, educational outcomes for kids are going down. And that's where Scholarly comes into play. Our mission is to supply schools with the technology that they need so that their students can achieve their dreams and change our world for the better.
I'm standing up here today as one of those kids that could have dropped out as well, had it not been for the educators in my life. Pictured here is David Singer. He was my high school teacher. He saw potential the same way that he sees potential in all of his kids now as founder of University Preparatory Charter School in Denver. And if it wasn't for him and the relationships that I had in my life, I could have been another statistic as well.
And you see me up here with my students. I love them deeply. This is when I surprised them for their 8th grade continuation. I actually taught them in 4th and 5th grade. I formed a lifelong bond with them as well as fellow teachers. My fellow teacher, Ray Mays, is in the audience tonight. Ray, if you'll raise your hand. Ray is still working with help them to help students. So we've worked with a lot of fantastic organizations in our years, and Uriel and I have united around the common bond of improving education in our country.
All of these outcomes have led us to join forces to actually work with schools over the last 4 years. And with our work, we found that there was a fundamental problem that faces all of them. Enrollment. Since the pandemic, 1.3 million kids have just left public education altogether. Can enroll kids? They don't open, and they run the risk of closing the ones who are already in existence. Our solution is scholarly.com. By a simple software, we help schools streamline their enrollment. We save school leaders time, money, and energy so they can focus on educating the next generation of scholars.
So we help schools increase their funding by improving their conversion rate, then we save them time. A lot of schools right now are using spreadsheets, paper, and pen. They are wasting so much time that they want to be using to help kids. And that's why we came up with Scholarly, as well as improving communication and therefore relationships with families.
Across the U.S., there are 7,200 public charter schools, and we plan on enabling them with two products. Our first is the parent relationship management tool. This product has three components. The first is the enrollment dashboard. Here, schools track and monitor their goals as it relates to enrollment. They have an enrollment pipeline that they can track each parent relationship across the various stages of the enrollment funnel. And finally, the contact database, which will serve as the centralized place where they map all of their relationships so they can actually report it at the end of the year.
And the second product that we've brought to market is our digital launch course. So we've taken our 6 years of working in digital marketing and our 4 years working with schools, and we've conglomerated it into a central database where schools can quickly and easily learn how to harness the power of the internet to increase enrollment at their school.
Nick and Ariel, can I interrupt?
Yeah.
I want to start, this is an incredible product, but how do you justify your $6.5 million valuation?
Absolutely. So can we jump forward to the revenue ramp?
Hopefully we can come back to this, but yeah. Awesome, there you go, yeah. So we justify it by looking at future revenues. We just started generating revenue this quarter by selling our two products. And our goal is to enable 100 schools by next summer. And we are targeting an MRR of $109,000. If you multiply that by a discount of 5 times, which is kind of what these ed tech companies are being traded at, that's how we get to the 6.5 million valuation.
And let's talk a little bit about ROI. So now our pricing model is around $11,000 per year for each school. That's for the software. And then for the digital launch course, schools invest $14,000 per year. And we offer a 1-month free trial. You may be saying, that's a large ticket. However, each additional student is worth $14,000 annually on average per school. And that equates to a K-12 lifetime value of $8,000.
Quick question, just on the overall revenue ramp. I think of education, public funding, typically going through an RFP process. Talk about the sales cycle and just ability to convert on your existing revenue today.
Thank you so much for that question. It's such a valid point. If you give me a second, I'll go back to this slide. We are focusing on entering the market with public charter schools because of the business case. Public charter schools are independently ran, have budgetary autonomy, and they have independent governing boards, so they can actually make decisions on adopting a new software within a week, sometimes a month, given how large the ticket size. So we're not actually going after school districts or larger public schools that have that RFP process of the larger sales cycle of 9 months to a year. We're going for these charter schools that can make a decision quickly.
It looked like you had a chart on the total available market. So you said 7,200 nationwide.
Yes, sir.
So that's your market size right there, and then the dollars associated.
Yes.
Are
They allocate around 3% of their budget to recruitment and enrollment, which is $1.5 billion. And then if you expand a little bit further, we think a natural progression is into the private charter school market, which has a $3 billion annual recruitment budget. And then moving out a little bit further, we look at that larger RFP process with large public school districts, $11 billion annually. And then let's talk about the tangential market.
And we think this is a tangential market opportunity as well. $4.7 billion is spent on recruitment by community colleges, by daycares, by organizations like I Have a Dream or Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we think that this product can 100% apply to them as well.
so it's 1.5 billion divided by 7,200 schools, so that's how much for
Roughly 200K. If you don't mind, I'd like to go back just slightly, because one of the things that we want to also talk about is the impact that the schools are having. If you look across the 7,200 charter schools that exist, their students are 65% of color, 75% are free and reduced lunch. And in some places, if you are a child of a low-income family and you attend a charter school, you're 36% more likely to go to college, blowing that high school dropout rate out of the water. And over the last 30 years, since the free charter school actually came up to be, we have seen that they actually perform equal or better than traditional public schools despite serving low-income kids. We kind of went a little bit. Any other questions? Yeah.
So I'll jump in. I know you guys launched just last year, this particular product, this year, excuse me. So this school year, how's it going? What's your revenue so far?
It's going fantastic. We currently have 14 schools who are using the product. That includes high-performing charters like University Prep, Houston Classical, and Elevate Collegiate. And these schools are onboarding and converting from a free trial into a paid plan. So our ARR is low at the moment. It's around $5,000, but we have many free trials.
And who's marketing to these schools?
We are.
I mean, the two of you.
That's right. Yes. So through channel partnerships and through just direct field marketing, we have a demo goal. We are scheduling demos because we found that if we get a school on a demo, they're high likely to convert at least to a free trial. Then the real job comes in to get them into a paying customer, and that's how we get to the 100.
We attended the National Charter School Conference in Washington, D.C. in June and collected 150 leads. And so we have been working through those leads and speaking with them.
So why we're the team to do it? That's okay.
The schools you're working with, have you gone through any of like the subscription renewal process?
Yeah.
What's the total conversion rate on all the schools that you've worked with? From the free demo to the actual paid subscription?
Yeah, it's still early. No one has churned yet. So we believe that there's a really strong use case here and schools are really lining up. Our need is really around this bottleneck of it's just myself and Uriel right now. There's only so much we can do when Uriel and I are selling in the school and also onboarding the school. So that's where we would like capital to support. And you want to talk a bit about the uses?
Well, we'll caveat on that. Just him and I selling. We have this amazing team here, which I think we can talk about. Why we're the team to do it. So Nick and I joined forces about 4 years ago with an ad agency, which is our first company, which enabled we are today. We've generated upwards of $3 billion over the last 4 years. We're passionate about education. We have channel partnerships, and I think no better person than someone who's actually been through the system and someone who's taught it as well.
Isn't everybody told you no yet?
Oh, yes.
Schools, yes.
And why?
Two.
Oh, schools.
Yeah, I can give you 2 reasons. Because they have built in-house exactly what we're trying to do, which that's an anomaly. And we need additional features when that happens, like automated communications.
Next question, how, and competition?
Yeah, of course. There's a couple of players that we've identified. Some in the school space like School Mint. They have a variety of different software products that help schools solve a lot of different problems. We have folks like School Admin, who just got acquired, which is a CRM directly. And then we also compete with folks like HubSpot and Salesforce. They have, CRM product, but they're not niching down. We think that we are the product for these schools because we're simple. We have a value proposition of literally it's so easy that a grandmother who has a child at that school can use it. And that's why we think we're going to win.
Hey, Nick, just to dovetail your last comment about the re-enrolling a couple of you guys, could you maybe just quickly articulate use of proceeds and how you intend to spend some of that money?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 3 primary uses of funds. The first is growth, so sales. The second is development. As Uriel mentioned before, there are a handful of key features that we know will help schools reach their enrollment goals faster. And then the last is customer success. So when a school onboards, they onboard with a really large data set that's usually in Excel. So our customer success team has a large burden of formatting that data properly to upload into the Scholarly system. So customer success and maintaining relations, this is a relationship and market. And so customer success, development, and growth are our 3 buckets.
So join us in improving education in the United States at scholarly.com.
job, Scholar Lead. All right, everybody, like I mentioned at the beginning, if you have any opportunities, resource contacts that would be it to Scholar Lead, please take 30 to 45 seconds to scan the QR code. We greatly appreciate the support. The companies greatly appreciate the support. So if you have any leads, any contacts that would be helpful to them, please take the time to share those. Thanks. All right, I'll give it about 10 more seconds. The last minute, folks, I want to scan that QR code. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All righty. So next company that I want to bring on stage is Cortez Brothers. Bernadette. Take it away, Bernadette.
Hi, my name is Bernadette Rivera, and I'm the co-owner and president of the Cortez Brothers. We are a full-service creative production company and a launch event for exceptional directorial talent. So we work primarily with finding great directors, crew members, cinematographers who go behind cameras. Some of the directors we've worked with through the years that would eventually go on to feature film and television are directors like Ted Melfi, who directed the Academy Award nominated film Hidden Figures. Fede Alvarez, I worked with him on the script for Evil Dead. He also directed John Breed, Andy Muschietti, and his sister and producing partner, Barbara Muschietti, who are the director and producing team behind Stephen King's It and Mama. We talent spot and mentor directors in the most early stages of their careers. And our current roster right now is filled with established and up-and-coming branded content directors that we truly believe in. Let me just show you what it is that we do through their lens.
My son's like Phoenix. My city is they never ever seen this. Jimmy Neutron, I'm a young boy genius. When this shit's done, I'ma fill up arenas. Like Gilbert arenas. Shoot my shot, I'm still in the demons. I'm in the pocket like Burrow. When I'm back home, they treat me like Robert De Niro. Took her to talk about butter and churro. Took her home, gave her a son.
My name is Jerome. I am a director based in Toronto, Canada. Filmmaking is a collaborative medium. I use all that I've experienced and I bring that to my directing.
They call me Good Los Angeles. I acquired that name when I first discovered the camera. I thought of something cool and techie.
Euros, zeros and zeros and zeros. That's what my bank account balance say. I got a check from a shit company, not doing anything in the balance say. I bought a plane ticket.
Hey, I'm Sterling Brown. Very little secret. Promise not to tell.
I know what she about to say. What's poppin'? Brand new whip, this hot. I got options. I can price target. Just joshing. Are you spending it? They like it. My body got rid of the toxins. Yo, supposed to be toxic.
So what you've seen is a look at some of the cinematic quality and how we like to turn lens on things. Our home base is in Los Angeles. Specifically, we are in Marina Del Rey. We're in the heart of Silicon Beach. Behind the scenes leadership team. My background is working as a journalist. I worked with CNN, NPR, and the overseas news bureaus, and for the Marketplace Morning Report. Used to chase hurricanes for a living. I chase stories right now. Deeply passionate about diverse representation behind the camera. Mexican American. We're a 100% Latino owned and operated company. My partner is Ed Rivera. He's Cuban American, former refugee. We actually have a lot of refugees within the core company. Long track record of finding and mentoring diverse directors and producers. He came out of working with Quentin Tarantino and Ridley and Tony Scott. So again, we're aiming our lens very high. The directors are the heart of our company. Each director is a specialist in a different type of filming, docu-cinematic, automotive, food, real people. Together, the underrepresented voices have a place behind the camera. And the Cortez Brothers is a home, a destination, a launching pad for them. We do a few things in particular to explain specifically physical production. So we have crews from a few people for COVID-safe productions That's how we made it through the pandemic, up to hundreds for large-scale shoots. We do turnkey production. That's where we take content from the paper stage and an idea all the way through final edit and delivery. So we handle post-production as well. Multi-format production, where we're shooting a lot of different formats at once, broadcast quality TV commercials, social media components, still photos, all in one shoot. And another specialty is bilingual production. We've worked out a system where we can shoot in Spanish and in English on the same shoot, as opposed to having to separate those into separate days or separate productions. Some of our brand experience is here. We work primarily with Fortune 500 brands and their ad agencies, but we have an unusual amount of experience working with the entertainment industry. We have a contract right now with MGM, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios, for instance. We work with ABC, Disney. Quality and craft are really important to us. So we take all of our knowledge of working within the studio and television system and translate that into everything we work on. We have an international global footprint. Again, both myself and my partner have worked overseas in international production. We had to assemble teams and crews. We carried that over to how we do business today. So we shoot nationwide in the United States and Canada. In Mexico, we shoot nationwide. In the Caribbean, we've actually had multiple projects. We go up and down and work around limitations with the governmental system at the time. Puerto Rico. In Europe, we've shot in Iceland, Bulgaria, Portugal, and Spain. And in Latin America, we filmed in what's known as the ABC countries: Argentina, Brazil, and Chile, and Colombia. Those are countries that have very deep, thick, rich filming backgrounds. We also have Uruguay is another one that we've been working with recently.
Bernadette. Yep. Hi, Bernadette. Nice to see you. Can you tell us, how do you generate revenue, and how long have you been operating, and give us an idea of what your annual sales are?
Sure. We are, well, when we applied to the program, I had predicted we'd be $5 million this year, and we actually ended up at $6 million. So we're, we generate revenue based on relationships. People know and trust us. When brands, when studios, when individual producers or creatives get into a mind and say, we have no idea how we're going to film this project under these limitations, we say things like Bulgaria, and we figure out a way. So a lot of our work is word of mouth and people that just simply trust us. We have sales teams that drive us even more work, and that's how we do business. We also have a series and story development department, and intellectual property is really hard and expensive to develop, but luckily we're trained in character story and series development by Nickelodeon, ABC, Disney, Fox Studios, and the Producers Guild of America. It's not just as simple as saying, throw together a film and stick some black and brown people in it. It takes a long time to develop that. Avatar was in development for 9 years before the first film came out. But we routinely build in-house using what we've learned as shortcuts to get there a little faster. Foreign market screenplay adaptations. That's how I knew how the Luis Miguel series would end before anyone else did. I was working on the scripts. TV show formats, TV series scripts, and Bibles. We've worked with producers at CBS, for instance, to get projects out. Film scripts, notes and script development for screenwriters, branded content, and brand story strategy. We take a character development-based approach underneath all of it. So there is an actual process that we work through.
Bernadette, one of the things that's interesting is how people that do work in commercials then go on to become producers and directors in movies. The impact is clear. What is stopping you from going from a $6 million company to a $20 million company? What do you need?
If I need credit, honestly. So
There's a bank here.
If you think of production as, you know, each production that we do is like a factory line. I can only open up so many lines at once before I put myself on shaky ground, right? So it was heartbreaking to have to turn down a $500,000 job earlier this year because I knew we just didn't have the capacity to forward fund that on our own. One of the little tricks behind you're working in film or branded content production or what have you, is you have to forward finance it yourself. You will eventually get paid, but it might take 3 to 6 months. Yeah. It could take even longer than that. One of my mentors has worked for a very large company involved in mouse ears that I probably shouldn't name, and he said he's been in business so long, he doesn't have to worry about competition because smaller companies can't afford to float costs for a year like he can. And that's always stuck with me, right? So we can only go as we're able to sell through finance. And you saw, we're from background where we're working on a tightrope with nothing underneath us except our own cameras to do it. You asked how long I've been doing this. The company's been open since 2005, but I've been working in content production since I was 14 years old. So my very first job was working in an in-house ad agency. I've always worked in trying to get people's ideas crafted and executed.
Bernadette, you mentioned you had a contract with MGM. Do you have other contracts where there's, AR already on the balance sheet that you got recurring cash?
No, it's, that's something I've never been able to crack, is trying to find an ongoing set of work that we could be doing on a basis that would go from time to time. IP and production is so up and down that it's sort of, you have to adapt to as it comes down the pipeline and then build the relationships and wait for the next project to come through.
Have you ever been stiffed by a client?
No, thankfully, my partner is cute and we get it done. So we have different ways of making sure everyone is out. Smile on our face. This is actually our last slide. On-set diversity is why we do this, right? It's what's behind the camera and who gets to have a part to play in making these productions. So this is data from a recent shoot, and it shows the overall diversity of who's behind the camera in my productions, right? And data that exists on the baseline diversity of production anywhere. The content production industry, what we found is some leading advocacy groups say aim for 15%. We're routinely hitting 60, 70, 80% behind the screen. And I list who's on our underrepresented crew because there's small roles like production assistant that grow up to become, chief creative officers, gaffers, hair and makeup, food stylists, director of photography, directors. We're trying to get as many people in under the tent as we can and growing them upwards.
The line of credit would you be interested in?
I mean, honestly, $1 million would make a huge difference for us because I could breathe and make some better choices and be a little more forward-facing in these jobs that come in.
And if you bring in $1 million of line of credit, what do you think your total revenue could be?
I would like to hit 10 million, honestly. Where I would like to go is the companies that we're up against as competition are routinely 100, $120 million companies. They're usually based out of the United Kingdom. They're building backers and generational wealth, and it's hard to compete against them, but we're lucky. I love what I do, and I like fighting. So I know I can get up to that level. I just don't have anything underneath my tightrope.
And would you need additional people in order to do that, or can you do it with your existing crew?
We can. It would be what we learned during the pandemic. The way we got through it was if we scaled down and trimmed down everything and outsourced a lot of it, we could survive, and we did. And now we've realized a lot of it. If I had, for instance, investment into my company, the first thing I would do is grow out our Foundry division, which is sort of where we train our junior directors to come up, and they work on more social media, faster turnaround, agile productions. Because you had asked, what is the relationship between advertising and film and TV? Very few people realize that that's the training ground that launches all of these directors. Guillermo del Toro started in advertising. Any director that you can name had an advertising company. My partner and I worked on different sides of Ridley and Tony Scott's companies. There's RSA, which does commercials, and there's Scott Free, which does all of those films everyone knows, Alien and Gladiator. But it's the commercial side that pays for, funds, and grows the careers and the bottom line of the film and TV. So that's where we're aiming.
One more question?
Yeah, right.
Oh, thank you.
All right, great job, Bernadette from Cortez Brothers. All right, folks, you know the drill. If you have any contacts, opportunities, resources that could be of benefit to Bernadette, please take a moment to scan that QR code and fill out that form. All righty. Give it about 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. competition. At this time, I would like to bring onto stage our third company that will be pitching today, Mauricio Silva from Milagros de Mexico.
Thanks for having me. So what is Milagros de Mexico? We are a health and wellness retail chain. We have medical services as well. We have a wholesale division as well. So we are building the #1 brand for health for the market here in the U.S. Really, our vision is very simple, which is bringing health to an underserved community, which is the fastest growing community here in the U.S. If you do not have health, you have nothing. You cannot work. We saw this in the pandemic. You cannot make money. You cannot save money. You cannot create wealth. In a country like the U.S., which is a capital society, if you do not have wealth, you just do not have representation. We're seeing that, of course, in politics and in business as well. And I know that LBAN is trying to make and help companies that don't companies scale. But health is our passion. I'm not from the U.S. I was born in Mexico, but I really like the words from JFK that don't do what you can do for your country, right? Just don't wait for the greatness before you just do it yourself. That was inspiration for us to launch Milagros 12 years ago, helping this community that has no, for the most part, uninsured. They don't speak the language. There's a cultural barrier when we navigate the healthcare system here in the US. It's very different from Mexico and Latin America. And Milagros will try to gap that health difference between the US and other countries. How we do this, we go to the communities. We open stores in Latino neighborhoods, so we just go deep. And we open the clinics as well, along with our stores. We just do not sell and offer services. We educate our customers, our patients. There's a lot of them come from small communities that lack a lot of education. So we just go there and educate them. We treat them with dignity. One thing that I learned working for a large retailer here in the US is offering an amazing shopping experience, an amazing medical experience. So that's what we do at Milagros, both at the retail front and in the back of the clinic. Beautiful shopping experience, great products, great service. We treat our customers and patients with dignity. We try to make it feel like home in a country that is foreign to them. When they come to Milagros, they say, "Oh my God, I just came back from Walgreens or CVS. No one speaks. They speak Spanish." Or I went to Kaiser and they just don't treat me as well as they treat me here at Milagros Medical. So we're trying to really understand, we think we understand our patient base, our customer base, and we bring in an amazing experience.
Are the products in the retail, or the products typically from Mexico, or are they U.S. products, or what's the mix of your products?
Yeah, so we call them like 3 buckets. One, products from the U.S. So you walk into Milagros, you can find Colgate or Crest or Pantene. We also put cosmetics. So that's the first bucket. Second bucket is the Mexican and Central American brands that the customers recognize from home and creates that emotional connection with them. And the third bucket is our private label, which is Milagros in Mexico. What's interesting now, that accounts for 20% of our sales, and now we're selling to the Milagros in Mexico brand for the retailers. So that's why we're building this #1 health and wellness brand. We've been approached by a chain to open a store-in-store in a pharmacy in a national chain. So again, it's building that brand. The analogy that I use is Starbucks. They have these shops. You can buy Starbucks the same way. Now you can go to Target and you can find a Starbucks location.
On the retail concept, how much to build or open one, how much time to break even, and at maturity, what are the unit economics?
Yeah, a build-up is $200,000 with the clinic, and the inventory is financed by the vendors, so $200,000 is the build-up. Break even is within 12, so just a year, so it's break even. Payback is about 3 years for a store. At maturity, a store is something about $800,000 at a mature state. The clinic, it's a clinic inside the retail store, and that peaks at about $1 million in revenue, and very profitable.
Mauricio, how many stores do you have and how much money have you guys made the last couple of years?
So we have 8 retail stores, and we have 2 clinics. We have Bay Area store in LA, and we have 2 in Houston. Revenue for Milagros and Mexico is a bit over $4 million this year. We'll be close to $1 million in Milagros Medical, and we expect to get 3 times the revenue in the next 3 years. We're in expansion mode. We're opening stores in LA, in Houston, and the rest of the clinics as well.
Do you have an idea of a rollout plan in terms of what cities and why? You started with Houston, for example. I live in Austin, but I'm from San Antonio, so, Houston, I understand, but where else would you go in Texas, as an example?
Yeah, so of course we follow demographics, largely the markets in the U.S. LA, Houston number 2, the Bay Area, of course, Chicago. We also follow the grocery retailers. Because mom goes to the shopping store and then they go to the pharmacy. They call us a farmacia naturista. So we would piggyback on the traffic of the Latino grocers.
You're currently in Texas and California. Could you maybe articulate a little bit more about your next targeted areas for expansion specifically, but also the store-in-store concept you were just speaking to? Can you maybe talk a little bit about where that is in the development process?
Yes. So next market, of course, California. We just have 1 store in LA, and we can add many more stores going north to Napa, Sonoma, south, Gilroy, Watsonville. So California has had a lot of growth for us. And we're just in Austin. We can do San Antonio, Dallas, Fort Worth, etc. So those are the 2 states that we have a lot of growth to. We'll go next to most likely Arizona and Nevada, Las Vegas. We have a lot of customers who come to shop in our stores. Our customers are the ones who are cleaning the homes during construction. So these are the folks who do not have access to health, and we serve them. And can I expand on the store-in-store? Yeah, I cannot name of the chain, but they approach us because they want to do what GNC did inside Rite Aid. And they want to do this to highlight wellness in this national chain.
2 questions. So on the store-in-store concept, I imagine the break-evens are quicker, the economics are better. Can you talk a little bit about what you think they might be in the store-in-store concept? Is my first question. Second question is, you expanded with medical clinics, and I'm thinking of other, like you could have, money transmission, you could have other concepts in the store. Is that too much of a departure from health, or are there other concepts other than a clinic that you could start introducing?
I'll answer that one because we already have remittances called Milagros Money, and it's pretty simple. Once you're the customer, it's not that difficult. So we already do that, and then we expand more services. Economics of store-in-store, it's new. The good news is we will not pay rent. We're trying to figure out if there's going to be a revenue share, or they're just going to pay us, and then you see if we make money. They don't want to push it hard on the cost. It's something new for us.
Talk a little bit about competition in each intersection. Say medical clinics, again, I'll go back to San Antonio. There are clinics that are bilingual, like, by Health Texas, et cetera. In San Antonio, there are growing clinics. On the retail, I'm not as familiar, other than the small pharmacies that maybe in the neighborhood, they're dying out, I guess. So who else are your competition?
So it's highly fragmented. We are the largest chain of health and wellness, in the U.S. with only 8 stores. What's neat about us is we're combining the preventive with the Milagros and Mexico, then the providers in the back, which is what Milagros are doing. So we are in the Latino space. We will only ones who are doing that. It's very hard to do medical. It's very regulated. So there are not a lot of Latinos who are not doing that. So we're combining both, and we believe we're building a good barrier to entry.
One last question. What type of medical services are you providing within the practice?
Urgent care, so community care, ear infections, eye infections. A lot of guys are here loans of STDs, and just really basic, for construction, really basic. If something is chronic, like diabetes, we refer them to a specialist.
Is there a doctor on staff or is?
Absolutely, yes, yes.
You have a couple minutes left, or 2 minutes?
Yeah, on the money transmission side, is it a proprietary network, or you work on the rails like the Western Union or MoneyGram?
We just have Western Union and Seagan, Korea, they just come to you piggyback on their network, and you make, they give you commission. And it brings traffic into the store. It's an affinity, I think you mentioned what other services can we offer, and we can do eventually insurance. We have a loyalty program, it's called Familia Milagros, so that we can really start data mining that, and we're partnering with some companies in Mexico for remittances and for just shipping products. Anyway, so there's a lot that you can do, but once you have this in your source of things.
Basically, I'll ask you the same question I asked Bernadette. You're at $4 million. What is it going to take to get to $20 million? And is it linear growth you're opening up, whereas at some point you get to be all across the country?
So it's capital, of course. I mean, stores, retail, it's capital intensive, and to build that, right? $200,000 is not a lot, but it's not like nothing. We are achieving scale right now, so the brand is getting recognized. So we believe that in a year, 1 year more, and then we can have a really explosive growth. Because again, it's all building a brand takes time. Again, the good news is that we were approached by this national chain. We're approached by a big Latina singer, Thalia, who approached us, and we're trying to figure out whether we do something with her or not. So we're getting recognition finally. It just took us a while.
Do you guys have a lot of documents?
Yes, we do. Yes, most of our customers believe they're undocumented. It's a iffy subject, but yes, we speak their language, and we're recognized as a place to go.
Alrighty, great job, Milagros de Mexico. All right, you know the drill. Scan that QR code, help out Mauricio. Any resources, contacts that would be of benefit to Mauricio, please take a moment to share those with them. As a community, we need to generate that social capital so we can advance, right? So take a moment, fill out that form. All right, we'll give it about 10 more seconds. Anybody else that wants to scan the code? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, we are preparing for our last company to come on the pitch. So at this time, please help me welcome to the stage Paola Santana from Class.
Thank you, everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hear me now? No. What about now? Better? A little bit better. Awesome. So let's get our slides up. So, hi everyone, I'm Paula Santana, and I'm the founder and CEO of Glass, where we're building pioneering government e-commerce. And I want to tell you why this is essential today. So governments are the biggest decision makers, determining the way we live and the opportunities that we have to thrive. They also happen to be the single largest buyers in the world. And let me tell you what is the state-of-the-art software that they're using today to make these purchases. Federal government, the page for the Department of Defense, one of the largest spenders, it didn't load. Almost every uses at some point Google Drive to publish RFPs. We cannot respond to an RFP on a Google Drive. If you go to SBA.gov, the Small Business Administration, and you try to find a small business, good luck trying to find something in that website. And every day we have news of misuse and abuse of government credit cards in the United States. And that wouldn't be a problem if governments weren't the largest purchasers. Governments spend $16 trillion through those type of software and processes that are paper-based, manual, and lengthy. And the biggest discovery that we made is that purchases under $25,000 take the same amount of time, training, people, and paperwork than a multi-million-dollar purchase. So my team started doing research, and what we found out is that these small purchases that are very discretionary, they're done with government credit cards and direct purchase orders, and we asked, why aren't we canalizing these small purchases to our small businesses? Why is it that 400 million small businesses in the world have never sold to their local government that is 2 blocks away from their office? And in the words of Bloomberg, of course, because something is obvious once someone cracks it, in the words of Bloomberg, a small procurement is a $3.7 trillion no-brainer market opportunity that we're aiming to eat with glass commerce. We are creating the world's first local government marketplace for small purchases without bits of paperwork, so any government buyer can come to one single place to search for goods, services, or rentals. Very simple call to action. Guys, don't get a lot of training on Oracle. Don't learn complex, nice codes and names and denominations. Just search for what you need. We have a powerful search bar with single screen product and price comparison, where every government agent can literally sort optimizing by price, local delivery, past performance, or socioeconomic goal. Then they can see that this vendor is fully verified, compliant, it has a Secretary of State business license. If it says that it's a small business, women-owned, minority-owned, etc., they can check that certification in one single business, has never been debarred, has never been blacklisted, and is fully compliant to receive that government purchase, and they can check out. In one single workflow, they can pay with a government credit card, a government check, our credit line, or other payment instruments. And seems very simple, but suddenly they're done. They can track all their budgets, they can set spending limits, and they can, with 2 clicks, send those documentations or reports to their finance and departments. So what I'm telling you today here is that we have a very solid value proposition. In a frictionless system, we're bringing together not just goods, but services and rentals. We are also helping governments buy locally first by verifying all these vendors in advance. We're helping them do real-time sourcing, which means that many small businesses can start doing sales and shipping to government in an hour or even same day. And governments in this single platform, they can do socioeconomic tracking and aggregation of local logistics. Small purchases, people's like, well, under $25,000 per credit card transaction becomes an almost $4 trillion market globally. That is an $800 billion problem in the United States, where we aim to start with a piece at 100 billion, targeting cities, counties, school districts, and special districts, around 90,000 government units that today are hiring digital native workforce that does not understand Oracle and is saying, why do I need to get trained on something that nobody wants to use?
My colleagues are too polite to interrupt, but I want to
Yes.
interrupt. Tell us what sales you've made so far and explain what you think you're worth right now and justify it.
Perfect. So that's the next slide. So today,
Show off.
yeah. So today we've been able, selling to government is hard, etc. Today we've been able to get $3.8 million in government sales. We've shipped over 5.8 items through our platform. We have over 75,000 verified products, and those are only from 25 government agencies. When we go big, and this is good, we hope to scale very big and very fast. This is how the SaaS part of our product looks like. I'll tell you in a second. We have worked with little towns of 10,000 people that have $30 million budgets and spend 5 million of those doing small transactions. We are working here in California with the city of Oakley, city of Seattle, of our most fervent fans. We make money in two main ways. We sell the software, the marketplace, we wrap it up in a SaaS fashion. We sell it to the agencies between $10,000 to $40,000 a year. And we also let any government buyer that hasn't purchased, whose agency hasn't purchased the software, to come and conduct a guest checkout. They just use it, do a spot purchase, and they pay between 1.5 to 15% per transaction fee. Why is now the time? Three main reasons. Number one, increase in number of government credit card holders in the United States. 8 million government credit card holders, 8 million people with a card swiping it. As long as they swipe it for under $10,000 to $25,000, they don't need to do price comparison, and where all these small businesses do not need to compete to gain these small purchases. Number two, increase in the purchase limit. 3 years ago, a small purchase was a $2,000 purchase. Today, it's $10,000 purchase per credit card swipe. Next year, we're expecting it to become a $25,000 transaction. So for every contract that all of us are paying attention to, is swiping the card 40 times. And this is the impact of this solution that we have. And the last trend here, and actually it was a fact, it was something we were observing, is a positive regulation shift where federal government was mandated to simplify all their small procurement, and where almost every city in the United States has been mandated to direct between 20 to 30% of all their budgets towards small, minority, women-owned, and diverse.
Just curious. So we're right now up against the headwinds of an economic contraction. And if not a recession, certainly continued volatility, most likely budget compressions across the board. Do you see this as an obstacle or as an opportunity?
This has been the greatest opportunity because 2.5 years ago, when I was raising our pre-seed, I had investors telling me it's impossible to sell to government, and this is going to take 5 years, 10 years to take off. And I was getting $1 million transactions on the platform because governments were breaking the platform because they needed to source things that they weren't able to get. So I think for us, we're in love with governments, but actually the interesting thing about government is that it's a recession-proof industry that Silicon Valley hasn't cracked.
So that brings up my question. So there are no, you make it sound like there are no direct competitors to you right now.
We have two sides. Number one is Amazon. They're doing great. They're going into government very, very, very aggressively. But Amazon only has goods, not services and not rentals and not local logistics.
I mean, how long would it take somebody to chase you to do this again? How long would it take somebody to do it?
2 years. And then the second competitor is Oracle, which is great and has the databases of government, but they don't have checkout capability. The good thing is that we're very well positioned to become a partner for all these folks. We're not competing with them. Actually, we use their data to help our vendors know what is the right price point that they can sell to, etc.
So two-sided marketplaces like this can become extremely valuable, but they usually have high fixed costs. And so just talk about what your runway to either break even is, or another question I might have is at $100 million volume on the platform, if you weren't in hyper growth mode, what do you think the margins would be at that level, or any other way you would answer?
Let me start with the last answer, the last question. So this is why we don't want to depend so much on the marketplace fees. We have observed the top 100 marketplaces today, and marketplaces are a big monster, and they take a lot of effort and a lot of money to make money. So we said, can we wrap this marketplace in a SaaS fashion? The good thing about that is that our projections, if we close, how do we attain 1 million in ARR? We close 20 governments at $35,000 price point SaaS per year, which we proved last month. We have 700,000 there. And then we make the rest of that 1 million with the GMV from the marketplace, charging the lowest GMV in the market. That is 1.5. So governments don't say that we're creating a barrier of entry for small businesses to sell. When we do, and we double every year. We depend less on the seasonality of marketplaces. We strengthen the SaaS. We make adoption and scaling going up. And 5 years from now, we're a $1 billion company with $100 million in revenue. So I want to go very quickly. So I finished. I know it's very hard to sell to government, and getting groundbreaking things into government is very hard. I've successfully done that twice in the past. I'm a Fulbright scholar, procurement expert, and my first company that is actually based here, is the first drone delivery company in the world, and we passed regulation with the White House and NASA 5 years ago. So my team is amazing. They come from GSA, the World Bank, eBay, and together we feel very strong about being a first mover in a massive market with positive regulation. So we're on track to become a $1 billion company. I want to tell you the last 3 things on why this is bigger than that. Number one, with small businesses for the last 2.5 years, we have discovered 3 contrarian, crazy things. Number one, that if we do real-time sourcing, we can find prices for governments that are 15% cheaper than the budget they were assigning for those purchases. Number 2, which is very, very rare, is that small and local vendors are beating existing contract prices from big box chains. 35% price point difference. Talking about Office Depot here. Competing with a small vendor that is not a manufacturer. Weird data, but I go deeper. And then we're asking the question, what happens if we create digital infrastructure and give payment processing, invoice capacity to 30 million small businesses in the United States to create their first government online store and bring the foundation for our country's economy to sell to 50% of our country's budget? What's the difference that we can make in this country? So we think we're on track to become a $100 billion company. We want to revolutionize how governments buy, and we're just simply starting by streamlining every single government transaction with small purchases. Thank you.
Love it.
Diego, do you mind if you retreat? Yes.
No. So at this time, folks, the Dolphins will step out and they will reconvene amongst themselves. I see that a couple of them will probably have to get because it's going to be a tough decision. So at this time, folks, if I could just get your attention real quick on what's about to happen. Alrighty, folks. Alrighty. At this time, folks, we are going to do the audience vote. So if you all can take a couple seconds, scan that QR code, and choose your favorite out of the 4 companies. We have about a minute or 2 to do that. So if we all can do that now, let's go ahead and do it.
Yes.
Yeah, so scan. Also, for whatever reason, if the phone doesn't reach, you also have the QR code at your seat.
Are you by yourself?
Alright, let's get those votes in. Let's get those votes in, everybody. Democracy is important. Get those votes in. So.
Are you the only one from the Well, unfortunately, right. So she's standing. Oh, hi.
All righty, let's get those last minute votes in. A few more seconds, and we will announce the audience vote winner. All right, folks, if you all have wrapped the voting, we're going to take a short intermission while the judges make their final decision. So if you all just grab drinks, grab food, feel free to do so. And we'll reconvene in about 8 to 10 minutes.
Line event today. We had a line event Wednesday. So I'm just like,
¡Qué gusto verte! No hay uno que sea solo de ver si nos No, no fui. Pero por eso no lo hice. Ya, no. We should do some.
Mira, I'm gonna do this. She was gonna do 100K.
Una, dos, tres. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Don't look at large people. Research yourself. Let me see ya. Good job. Thank you. Go home.
You're good. Oh, okay. Yes, yes, Andy, thanks for coming. Yes, it's right in the clip. Yeah, thanks for coming. Yes.
Can you take a picture of us? Yeah.
Ricky. Ricky, you don't know how to take a picture. Ricky, you walk. Favorite like the I did Absolutely. The guys that were here because they like Jerry. They always like and then Roger, they weren't there. You're not the best now. Like, if I were you, I would just invite them all to I'm like, you know what, you want to know how it is? I'm going to host it at your house. But why is the next available? Keep it next to
He's proposing.
I mean, the first person I would like to step in is mine. I want to She's flexible. I was like trying to go shopping and I was like, Bea has like incredible Miami subscribers. We're just talking about okay.
We have a winner, folks. I just got word that we have a winner, so if we can all gather back to our seats.
Do you want to clap the whole?
Yes, we have 4 winners. Thank you for the question. We have 4 winners that we are about to announce shortly, so folks, please start making your way back to your respective seats.
I knew it was gonna be you, Maria.
All righty, everybody. All right, we're good? All right. So first off, folks, can we all just give a big round of applause to all the They all did a really awesome job. Fantastic companies, high growth companies, high potential companies as well. Like I mentioned to you before at the beginning, investing in Latino-owned companies is the opportunity, not the risk, right? All right, at this time now, I will go ahead and announce the audience winner. And then from there, I will pass it over to Peru to make the final decisions. So, it was a very close vote, but the audience winner goes to Paola Santana. Thank you, everybody, for voting and for partaking in that. And at this time, I would like to pass it over to Peru to wrap us up.
So I have the tremendous honor and fun of announcing the winners. But before I do, I also have the tremendous honor of thanking all of the people that made this possible. Can we give another round of applause to Chase and JP Morgan? I don't know that you guys know how much work goes into one of these events behind the scenes, but Arturo and Jennifer Garcia and their incredible team have been working incredibly hard for months to make this inaugural season of Dolphin Tank possible. So can we please give them a very special our distinguished judges, as you might imagine, have a lot of options for how they spend their time. And for them to come out here and not only ask their probing questions, but take time to have this thoughtful discussion about where this money needs to go is a measure of where this community is, what LBAN has meant to the broader entrepreneurial community, and a tribute to each of them for being leaders in their sectors. Thank them again. Capital Plus is honored to be the fiscal sponsors of this. And the $1 million that we have committed to is, of course, and I say this for obvious reasons, subject to 45 to 60 days of due diligence and the ordinary customary requirements of making sure that we're giving this promise. But we are really thrilled to be investors in 4 incredible companies. And I am going to, without any further ado, go ahead and start announcing them. The first prize of $100,000 will go to Scholar Weed. You want up here for pictures? Eric?
Definitely.
Arturo, Jennifer, anybody else?
Bravo.
Thank you very much.
And I think it's important just to understand what they are trying to do. Charter schools have struggled for years in figuring out how to actually recruit the students that need to be in their schools but don't have any idea, to actually think about bringing entrepreneurship and innovation to that critical sector is amazing. We are so lucky to be a part of your journey. Congratulations and good luck. Next, we are going to announce that instead of a traditional commitment, we are going to guarantee and make sure that we help you get $500,000 of line of credit to Cortez. Capital Plus is prepared to be the guarantor. We're going to make sure that we work with Bernadette to get the kind of capital she needs. I don't think I appreciated how important it was to create a foundation for these filmmakers and producers that are working so hard. They don't just land Avatar. They first start with commercials for companies, and to be able to do it at that high quality, to showcase their skills in a place that is durable and sustainable and can pay the bills is an extraordinary thing, Bernadette, that you do, and we are so lucky to have a chance to be a part of it.
Yay.
The decision between first and second was not an easy one. We were divided. We had a very, very fulsome conversation about what the opportunity was, and we ultimately did decide a second place and a first place. But second place is going to receive $400,000 of investment instead of $250,000, and that is going to go to Milagros de Mexico. Remember that the inspiration for doing this was to help companies save the world. And to have a company that is literally taking a community that has been disadvantaged and disinvested and making them healthier, making them think about comfort with their bodies and with their health, and taking it seriously, to do it at scale for a market that is the largest growing market in the country. It's an extraordinary thing. It's a business that ought to have been created 25 years ago. That ought to have already been here for the millions of members of the Latino community that take their health seriously, but you're here, better late than never. And by our math, $400,000 gets us 2 stores, right? Congratulations. Paula Santana, $500,000 is going to invest in making government actually work. Congratulations. Just put this in perspective, to understand that the largest purchaser in the known universe still uses paper processes and broken websites to spend trillions of our dollars, to think where that money could go if it was better utilized, more efficient, more effective. And by the way, actually finding local, diverse, small business vendors that are in your backyard to help government work, it's the dream, but it doesn't happen. Well, Paula, your job is to go change that, and we're so lucky to have a chance to be a part of it.
Right.
I have had the honor of leading Capital Plus for just a year, but to not realize what I inherited, the business that this team and their supporters built, is extraordinary. And I need to give a plug for Capital Plus, and I wish I could take credit for this, but I came right after all of what they did. But in the middle of a global pandemic, when people were not sure what was going to happen to millions of small businesses around the world, the US government decided to launch a program that would make money available to small businesses. And for a few months, that money started going out. And the big banks that were giving that money out made sure that their existing customers, and ideally the biggest of their existing customers, would get that money. At some point, Treasury realized that that was a problem because the people that needed the money the most weren't getting it. And they allowed CDFIs to play a role. Capital Plus Financial is among the largest CDFIs in the country. It was able to do something at scale that was desperate to be done. Of the 11.5 million PPP loans in the country, Capital Plus Financial helped facilitate nearly 400,000 of those loans. It was the second largest by volume PPP lender in the country. But the part that doesn't get told is who that money was going to. 87% of that money went to Black and brown businesses. To Black and brown. The average loan amount was under $17,000. These were mom and pop corner stores that didn't know how to get a loan through the traditional means, and we were able to help them. Eric and team, I'm so honored to be a part of it. We wanted to give back. We had an incredible, incredible journey during the pandemic, even in the middle of desperation, and we wanted to make sure. I hope the questions weren't too shark-like. You guys were incredible. This is the beginning of something we hope is sustained and supported by other institutions across the country. But I will end again with a special thank you to LBAN and the Stanford Business School, to Hopkins and to EY for supporting this inaugural year. Congratulations to the team. I know there's networking and then we're all going out to dinner. So thank you again, guys.
Thank you to Diego.
Can we get all the winners up to the front? Sorry.